Okay, well, today's topic that I would like to share with you, it is about, it is about, it's time for us to finish our work because we are going on and on and on with the work, but we are not even thinking that it is time for us to finish. So how far we are getting ready, or we want to finish. Sometimes we may not want to finish. Sometimes we feel that, okay, no, we should just go on, let it be like that. No, we need to understand that we need to finish. We need to finish. If you can remember, Jesus on the cross, he was given a task, and then and he was on the cross and he said, it is finished. Because every time it is going to be finished in different ways. And the probation time that it is with us at this moment, it is going to finish. So, and all these things going to be ended. And then the good times we have is going to be finished also. So then we think of that it is time for us to get ready or get people ready, because the time has already come. And we are in the last segment of the time. So this we need to keep in mind. The Bible text that we read just now, in the beginning of this program, for Zion's sake, I will not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest until her righteousness goes forth as brightness and her salvation as a lamp that burns. Now you see the first two sentences here, or the fragments of the sentence, like we can say, for Zion's sake, I will not hold my peace. I will not hold my peace forever. Okay. But for Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest, because I am going to take care. I am going to be with Jerusalem. So because this shows his presence with his chosen children. You know, there was a story written, actually it's an actual incident in the life of an Englishman, historian and essayist. And his name was Thomas Carlyle. Thomas Carlyle, he was in northern England one time on a New Year's Eve. What happened was he wanted to take a walk because it was boring for him inside. And so towards the evening, actually, he started walking. So he just walking and thinking of many things and what is ahead of this year and what happened last year. He was just thinking all those stuff. And then he was just walking and he came closer to the seashore. So when he came to the shore and he was just walking the beach, suddenly he felt that that brightness is disappearing around him, and he felt that strong winds started blowing, and it turned into a storm, and slight drizzle started into a stormy rain. So he was wondering what's going on now. I walked and walked and walked. I need to get back. Now, then he said, I am in the midst of darkness. I am in the midst of a storm. I am in the midst of turmoil, he thought to himself. And he wrote in his poem one time, and he said, I stand at the center of immensity, at the conflux of eternities, because he felt scary. He felt scared. He didn't know what to do. So this kind of a situation, today's remnant church also stands here. When we talk with the economists, they say that, oh, inflation is so soaring up and all the prices are going up. And but only one thing is not going up, is maybe the income of people. And a lot of things are taking place. The climatic changes are taking place, and a lot of sicknesses around. And when I left, everybody was checking on COVID. But when I was just trying to come they were also talking about monkeypox or some new disease. So different things are coming into our lives and being introduced. So this kind of a climate, this kind of a society, this kind of a turmoil we are in. So it is an indication that the time to finish our work, time to finish our work. When we read about the situations around us, the psalmist in Psalms 42 verse 7, he mentions, all thy waves and thy billows are gone over me. He says that everything is going up over me. And here, this kind of a situation is taking place one after the other. And many people, sometimes you have many experiences, you have many witnesses to witness, and you may have experience to share that, what is going on around us. Sometimes we have a misconception. We always think that, okay, in order to finish the work, we need to go house to house, and we need to go and preach, we need to go and have effort meetings. And it is true, it is just part of our work. But it doesn't mean to say those who are unable to go on those kind of missions, they have also were given another way of task. Each person can share the task of finishing this work, because there is an assurance given here: for Zion's sake I will not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest. So here we find that, further, if you read, righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth. So it is that, the salvation that God is offering for everyone. So I like to read a passage from manuscript releases. And Ellen G. White was penning a quote with the quotation or with the relevant to the text we read, and it is in manuscript 20, 1902. She says that it is a very beautiful passage. So I just want to share this with you. And here we find that it is very important for us to understand these words, because our mission should be alongside of Christ's mission. This passage explains how Christ finished his work on earth, and he is just our prototype, and we follow him, and we can always experience happiness ultimately, like we have accomplished, because our module is Christ's module. So here we read, Christ was a close observer, noticing many things that others pass by. When others pass by and others are not noticing, Christ observes each and everything. That is what it meant. He was ever helpful, ever ready to speak words of hope and sympathy to the discouraged and the bereaved. Now, are we doing that? Are we encouraging people or discouraging people? Are we sharing the bereavement or sorrow of other people? And further, we read, he allowed the crowd to press around him and complained not, though sometimes almost lifted he off his feet. When he met a funeral, he did not pass by indifferently. Sadness came over his face as he looked upon death, and he wept with the mourners. You see that he was very emotional and very sensitive, and he shared his emotions with the people, who are mourning. So are we doing that? This is a mission that we need to finish, and this is a mission that is being expected from us. It is not only limited to preaching. It is not only limited to do big efforts or big I could say meetings or public meetings or something like that, but simple things will win people to Christ. So further, I like to read here because it's so beautiful and so much we can learn from here. as the children gathered the wildflowers growing so abundantly around them and crowded up to present to him their little offerings, he received them gladly, smiled upon them, and expressed his joy at seeing so many varieties of flowers. He was thankful. Jesus was thankful to the people and those who offered everything to him, even a simple flower to him, the children. He was very thankful to them. These children were his heritage. He knew that he had come to ransom them from the enemy by dying on the cross of Calvary. He spoke words to them that ever after they carried in their hearts. They were delighted to think that he appreciated their gifts and spoke so lovingly to them. Are we lovingly speaking to the children? Are we lovingly treating others around us? And so that those words will be remembered. So this is what we find, and this is another lesson that we learn here. Further we read, Christ watched children at their play and often expressed his approval when they gained an innocent victory over something they were determined to do. He sang to the children in sweet and blessed words. They knew that he loved them. He never frowned on them. He shared childish joys and sorrows. Often he would gather flowers and, after pointing out their beauties to the children, would leave them in them as a gift. He had made the flowers and he delighted to point out their beauties. So this passage is talking about how Christ shared his joy. Innocent children gathered around him and he was just showing them his love. So don't we feel that, there's a text in the Bible, it says that, all these children, if we're having a childlike faith or a childlike attitude, a childlike character, we are being assured to be in heaven, because that kind of character God is expecting. So like children, we should gather around him and we should offer whatever we have around us. And then he is appreciating every moment, everything what we do to him. This we need to keep in mind. And it has been said that Jesus never smiled. This is not correct. A child in its innocence and purity called forth his lips' joyous song. He always smiled with the children and he always shared with the children. So we are considered his children and he is there to comfort us. And as we read in the Bible, that it is very important to keep in mind that assurance was given to us because we are part of Jerusalem, we are part of his church, and we are part of his congregation. We are part of the Israelites, the spiritual Israelites. So we are being given that assurance. It has been said that Jesus never, further we read that, to those who followed him, he explained the words of God so clearly that they loved to be in his company. He led their minds from the inferior things of earth to the holy principles of truth and righteousness. So he was explaining about heavenly things. He was explaining his concentration and his focus and his vision was above the earth, and it is on heavenly things. He prepared them to understand what is comprehended in transformation of character after the divine similitude. His words encouraged faith. He carried the minds of his hearers from this world with its busy cares to the higher, nobler world, which so many had lost sight of. He showed that every moment of life is fraught with eternal significance. He declared that the things of this world are of minor importance in comparison with the things of the world to come. My dear brothers and sisters, it is very important for us to note that, how our focus is going to be and how our focus is is the question. If you read in Matthew chapter 28, verse 19, we find that, it says, go and teach all nations. And Mark 16:15 says, go, preach. When Jesus commanding us, go, and if we are not going, we are not fulfilling his commandment. And the other one, actually the adversary, Satan, who is working against Jesus, he says, don't go. And he says, to teach all nations, he said, don't teach all nations. Don't teach to these people. Don't teach to those people. And don't preach. So this is what he says. And are we listening to him, or are we going to listen to our Savior? Because it is being commissioned. Our commission is being given. Go and teach all nations. It doesn't discriminate, because we are all foreign missionaries here. There is no boundaries. There is no limit. Everybody are foreign missionaries. We have to go and preach all nations. It says all nations. So it won't limit to USA, to Canada, to Philippines, to any other country, Africa or whatever. No boundaries whatsoever. We need to carry on with our work, because it is so important that how much we are working for him, because we need to look back and see what have we accomplished. For almost, we are coming to the half of this year, okay, and another half to go in this year. What have we accomplished in these past 6 months? And we need to look back and see, and what are we going to do for finishing his work in the rest of these 6 months to come, so that end of the year we can always say that, oh, we have accomplished such and such things. Okay, so this is what is important. We need to share Jesus's love with others, and people need to see Jesus through our character. Are we smiling at them, and are we helping with them, and are we sharing the joy with the people, and people who need, people who are experiencing storm and turmoil around in this society. So all these things are questions around us and before us. We need to understand, because sometimes some people wanted to talk and share their sorrow, how much we are listening to them, how much we are spending time to listen to those people, and then give them some encouragement. So this is what is important for us to understand and keep in mind. Early writings, page 279, we find that, there is another statement saying, souls that were scattered all through the religious bodies answered to the call, and the precious were hurried out of the doomed churches. She says, this is a vision that Sister White saw. And she says, all the souls were scattered around, and in the religious bodies, in different churches and different denominations, different groups. They are being called, and they are hurried out of the doomed churches, the fallen churches. They hurried out of it. They won't hurry out unless otherwise we proclaim this gospel. We proclaim his love, proclaim this truth. What is the truth we have? The eternal gospel we have. We are special people. We are being called. We are part of the Jerusalem group. We are part of his chosen. So that we are proclaiming the three angels' message. That is what we have. And we are different to the others because we have the complete message, complete gospel we have. So it is much expected from us to do much more things than the people of this world, because the hour is approaching, and it's coming very, very soon, because the times are not easy. Times are not good. So, I like to share an experience that I was with two brothers from India, and we went to Nepal on a mission, and we had a conference and ordinations of minister as well as an elder there. And while we were having the meetings, a big storm strike that city where we were. It's a small town, not a big city. And we did not have electricity until I departed after 3 days. So this was a challenge, but still we continued with our agenda, our programs, no problem whatsoever, God's grace. And the most stunning news we heard was that, okay, after that we took a small propeller planes, domestic planes. They are only 22 seaters, 20 seaters, and two crew members and the pilot. They just fly, and from one place to the other, because it's very mountainous in Nepal. And when we reached out of Nepal, we heard after 2 days there was a flight got crashed, and because they lost the sight, and it had gone and crashed into a mountain, and all people on board died. So, and I just spoke to our brethren right after this news I heard, that I said that, God's grace and God's mercy, that we survived even in the midst of that storm and the stormy time that, we flew in, because there was a huge delay in all the flights because of the storm, and it continued. But still, God was merciful. He brought us home carefully and safely. But unfortunately, some people lost their lives, and some incident took place. But then I remembered a saying that safety is not the absence of danger, but presence of God. Safety is not absence of danger, but presence of God. So God is merciful, God is with us, and let us share this gospel. Let us finish the work ahead of us, and let us proclaim the gospel and quicken his second coming, and prepare everyone else while we prepare ourselves. This is my wish and prayer for this day. Amen.